How's it going, guys? This first part of the video is specifically for PlayStation 5 users, so check the timestamps on the timeline of the video and go to the part where it says for everyone if you're not on PlayStation 5. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching and I'll catch you right over there. Now, for everyone on PlayStation, you're gonna go down to General, go down to External Devices, go to HDMI settings, disable 444 pass-through so that we can now access the fine-tune color setting. Now, Xbox and PC cannot access this setting. 444 chroma is important for Xbox, otherwise it's gonna look blurrier and you're gonna get pixelation issues in the UI. This doesn't happen on PS5 because we don't have 444 chroma support. So, now, when we've disabled this, we're gonna go into color, fine-tune, and we're going to change the color adjustment tool to user selection. You're now going to go to the first color, which is green, and you're going to boost it to plus 30 on luminance. You're then going to go to yellow and boost that to plus 30 on luminance and plus 20 on color. This is going to help you regain the color volume of green and yellow. So that is awesome. I will show in the video later on a comparison in between how much more powerful the green is. It's not that big of a deal. You won't really notice it. It's more of you have more whites pushing brightness in the yellow and in the green. We have also boosted the vibrancy of yellow because it became a little bit too desaturated when we did all of these settings using the new color gamut of Adobe RGB. So now, this is for everyone. Okay, good. Now you're gonna go into white balance, and what we have done here is we have made sure that we have less of a warm tinge than we had before. It looked really well, really good. I liked it. But we had slight magenta and we had a little bit too of a warm picture. It needs necessarily to look more accurate, it needs to be more neutralized, so colder. So I've spent hours on end trying to dial that back just slightly, and it now looks very comparable actually. It starts to look exactly like I would want it to look. I don't see any tint, I don't see any obvious abbreviations of colors, it just looks good. So, 2-point method, low point scale, and we're gonna go minus 32, minus 25, minus 29. And you have them on screen, make sure that if I said anything wrong, you have them on screen here. We're gonna go high point, change to that, and do plus 31, plus 18, plus 35. You have them on screen here so that you can double check. Good. Nice. We're gonna go over to 22-point code value and just make sure that they are the same as they were before. So, minus 10, minus 10, minus 3, minus 10, minus 5, minus 10, minus 10, minus 10, minus 8. If they are different to what you had from the latest video, that is because I've changed them, because we had to not make it brown in the UI, because we have changed the color balance on the TV using these. So that's important to know. Also, you have to be in warm 50. I know some people said they want to do warm 30 instead. Then these settings are still really good, but it's just you won't get as much out of them. And like, man, I understand you don't know everything about calibration and you just want your preference to come through, and that is fine if you want to do your preference instead, but no, you will get less ABL issues with colors on the full field when you use warm 50. So it's really a benefit to you in two ways, not just accuracy, but it also gives you more brightness on average. So now, that's the calibration. One thing I will recommend for PlayStation users, because you now have super resolution on your TV available, is if you're on PlayStation 5 specifically, not on older consoles or whatnot, because then it can be nice to use super resolution. If you're on newer consoles like Xbox Series X or PlayStation 5, disable this. Now, if you have quite a little bit blurry vision and you probably need glasses, you can use this function and boost it to low, but I don't recommend to use it at all. It does add contrast issues around lines when it is 4K. So if it's 1440p or lower resolution, it's fine. So that means, what does that mean? If you're using a 4K signal on the PS5, but the game is outputting 1440p, like most of the games are, well then this can be good to push at high to kind of regain some of the blur, like the sharpness that has been ruined by TEA and 1440p lower resolutions. Okay, but I recommend in general to leave this off, because the sharpness slider alone will help you counteract the blurriness. So you don't have to use double sharpening. That's what I'm trying to get at. Okay, I'm just gonna double check that I haven't missed anything important. Okay, so now we're gonna go into the sharpness settings on the standard of Game Optimizer. This is obviously for the gamers. We have still not changed any settings here. We're using standard. VRR 144Hz is disabled. This is specifically for PlayStation 5 and Xbox gamers. I don't know how wrong the VRR is on Xbox. So you might be able to use VRR 60Hz on the Xbox. Heck, even 120Hz VRR. I don't actually know. I haven't done any research because I don't have an Xbox. You can try to use VRR and 120Hz on Xbox, but make sure to not enable boost mode. It's only okay to enable this if you're on PC, because then you can counteract the gamma slightly on the lower end. I most likely will make a correction for that in the future, so that you can regain your precious 3 milliseconds of input lag that you get better increased when you use this. It is going to be hard to mess with a 22-point scale and have it be accurate at the same time without calibration gear, so I'm not promising anything. For now, you really don't notice the input lag at all, I would say. It is a difference, but you can't notice it. It's super, super tiny. So these settings are still going to be like this. You're going to do black stabilizer 10. It's important to say that's the default value. If you make it darker, the entire image, you know that blue issue that we were talking about, it will sadly come back. So if you dial this down, everything that is gray becomes blue. It is important to know that. Not everyone will care. So now you know. It's not a big deal, honestly, because it's like if you're playing a game and it is that washed out, it shouldn't be anymore, because now we are accurate. But if it, for some reason, is still washed out more than you would prefer, so it's a preference thing, you can still dial this down to your liking. But no, you will be messing with the image. However, if you go up and then you want to gain more clarity, so you dial down the black level, if that's your preference, well, that is okay. You'll be washing out the colors instead of making them bluer. So it's actually fine to drag it up. You will be going away from artistic intent and slightly from the accuracy point of what the boost of the max color volume can get to. But it's not a big deal, honestly, in my opinion, if that's your preference. Now, white stabilizer is important if you want to gain more pop from the screen. It is in, I would say, 98% of the cases, a recommendation from me to you to definitely use this mode. So, let's see, I'm gonna go to a specific screenshot here. This one, okay. So, you can clearly see, if we drag this up, down, you can see what happens. It will mess with highlight detail, slightly in some games, not all games, but it will make the overall HDR pop in HDRG a lot more cohesive, and the image just looks so much clearer from the default value of 10 down to 0. I recommend using this at 0 all the time. However, have another preset in the Game Optimizer be completely default so that you can check back and forth, because you might not prefer it being this boosted, and that is fine. But I really like how it looks. I think it adds back some of the ABL and the limiting factors from auto, and it just becomes better this way. We are always going to be running limited video range on the TV and auto on the console. We can run full on the console, because that will be necessarily the same thing. So auto on the console is what I recommend, and limited on the TV. This makes sure that I can actually explain slightly, but I will do this first. We do 50 on the black level, that is correct for the gamma, and then we do 28 on sharpness to boost the sharpness. This looks good for 4K games and for lower res games, so it kind of narrows the playing field of the sharpness. I think it looks great. 49 is the color depth still, we don't change that, and HDRG is the one we will use. Okay, auto. Why is that such an issue? Well, here's the case, and this is the thing, man. If we're talking SDR specifically, this is how it is. Let's imagine this is just a whiteboard here, it's not a TV. You have full range, which is this. This is what the TV's maximum capabilities are at. It doesn't make it the best value though, because here's the thing. If the signal is full and the game is actually made here on limited, what will happen is you will wash out all colors and get black level rays because you're not matching the TV's, what is this called in English? I don't know what it's called. I might put it in the comments later. But you have to match the video range either way, so that it actually looks correct with colors, gamma, black levels, and all color luminance values to their absolute limit. And then it's gonna look like this. You're also gonna gain higher volume in all of these aspects as well. Now, the sad thing is, you will be making the black level darker in some games that need it to be on auto. It's not a lot of games, honestly. It's like 3 or 4 games on all the PlayStation 5 and Xbox games. And for those 4 games, it would be better just specifically for highlight detail and black level detail to have it on auto. So full would be what it is. But because 99% of the market's information being sent to these panels are made for limited in mind for TV standard, you have to be in limited and auto on the console so that it intertwines correctly. If you don't go around this, you will get, instead of 1049 nits on your C4, you will be more around 600 or so nits, maybe even 500 nits. I'm not sure, it looks more like 300 to 400 nits, but I would guess it's higher. Because eyes can be, it can always be hard to kind of correlate brightness that way. So that's the limiting key factor. Why I never say to use auto, because this is not the correct way to do things, man. It is a more advanced way to put it on limited. You're not crushing black levels. It's just way darker than what you think they should be. If you think these TVs are so good that they can give you everything all at once, no, they are not that good. Maybe in the future we can get panels that are super referenced, super good with absolutely everything, no discrepancies allowed. But for the time being right now, if you want to get the most brightness, the most colors, accurate at the same time, as deep blacks as possible as they should be right here at their default level, and you're using auto, you're gonna lift them and you're going to make sure that you're washing out the highlights, so now you see more in the highlights. But if you do it the exact correct values of everything that you can, you will be left with outliers that are limiting the panel in some way. And it's not the colors, because the thing is, in a game, if you have BT2020 colors, they can still talk completely normally in limited. You don't have to have full range for the color gamut to talk correctly with the panel. That's also a weird misconstrued factor that people don't seem to understand. So you need to be in limited for 99% of games to look correct on these panels. And that is probably the same for Samsung. I haven't actually tampered with video range on those panels, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same thing. The black levels will become a lot deeper and darker, and everything else will look darker as well, except for highlights, mid-tone luminance, and just overall luminance in general. Like, everything will be brighter, and the panel will be able to push more of its good side instead of the full side of the panel. Because you don't necessarily want to get a raw, full range when the movie was made for limited. If you calibrate something for full and then you use limited, it's gonna look wrong. It's too dark. But if you use a calibration that's made for full and then doing auto on the console and limited on the TV, now it starts to look correct. You might still need to change the in-game settings though. It might still be too dark for the black level in-game. So you can't use auto, calibrate your game, do the brightness and everything in game, and you're happy with the black level, and then test this calibration, now you have to change the settings in game as well, man. You can't be using the same settings. And it's good to know if you're using limited and my overall calibration and white stabilizer, you might have to change the white point alignment on the PS5 with the HDR calibration. And how you do this is you're gonna go down to screen and video, adjust the HDR, and you're gonna change this value until you can see the sun, then go up one more step, you're gonna barely see the sun, and go up one more step again, and now you can't see the sun. You're gonna do the same thing here, you see the sun, barely see the sun, can't see the sun, boom, and you're gonna make this into the darkest possible. If you think for a second, man, that dialing this thing up will make you counteract the limited, making it too dark, that's not what this does, man. This is a full range signal from the PS5. Every step that you go up with this value, you are going to wash out everything, not just the black level. You won't see more detail in the dark doing this either. You will literally, this is the black level where it's supposed to be. You'll push it up so you'll make it washed out, but you won't see more detail. And the brightness, let's say it's 1000 nits, you'll make that lower or higher than it needs to be. So you're washing everything, like, I don't know how to explain this in English, but you're literally taking the reference peak point and then you're lifting everything. And you're not lifting it in a way that you get more, you get less. Because the TV isn't supposed to be that high with all of the values. So you're just washing everything out. The TV can't progress what's happening, man. So this needs to be at full range. This cannot be limited. This needs to be full range. So you essentially do a full range calibration with the HDR contrast. You go to its full capability there, its full capability there, and its full capability of doing the darkest it can here. Now the TV will be correct for like 5 Sony exclusive games. Because that only really works for that. It doesn't even work for all games. So yeah, that's the calibration. We've now made it less warm, less magenta, and PlayStation players now have more yellow luminance pop and more green. I'm also gonna show it off, of course. I said I would, so let's do that right now. Okay, you can see it's slightly more yellow. It looks a lot better in real life than it does on camera, actually. It actually becomes clearly more yellow and higher in luminance. It's not super noticeable, it's not a big difference, not at all. But it gives you more of the luminance that you otherwise wouldn't have anymore. There. You can see how the green value changes very slightly. It goes up in brightness. Damn, this is really hard to show off on camera. I hoped it would be kind of easy to show off, honestly. You can see stuff happening up there. It is a lot more noticeable in real life than it is on camera. So there we go. I will keep you guys posted if in case I improve the TV even more. But for now, this is very close to the absolute max capability of this panel. It would be so cool to get, like, let's say G6 comes out, LG G6, and it has a lot better color volume for all colors. If you did this calibration on that TV, you would in theory see that very clearly, like red, yellow and all these colors, they just have higher like light to them, higher brightness to them. You wouldn't see it in the fashion that, oh, it looks more colorful. No, you would just see the brightness being higher. That's color volume. Color volume is essentially the brightness of the color in nits and the color vibrance at the same time. That's kind of the volume of the color, and also how high it stretches on the BT2020 scale or whatever color gamut it pushes. So yeah, thank you guys so much, and I really hope you guys enjoyed this new setup. It's slightly colder than before. It is, I would say, so close to reference now with the white balance that I don't think I can improve it anymore. But I will try, and I will make another video if that is the case. If you guys want to see me calibrate any game, make sure to tell me in the comments, and thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.